Hey, this is Ricky Kennerly from Mbuna Cichlids. In today's video, we're going to look at how to breed Mbuna African Cichlid. So look this way and check it out. This is how to breed Mbuna African Cichlids. One of the things I find very important in a breeding setup, especially for Mbuna, is to have at least 5 females per every male that you have in the Mbuna aquarium. Also, if you want to make sure you have the right fish come out, you want to have a species only aquarium for this breeding setup. Picking the right substrate for a Mbuna aquarium is very important. It's used in the breeding process where when they do their little mating dance, mating ritual, where they go around in circles, the female drops the eggs and then she picks them up. Now if it's done in gravel, sometimes you'll lose some of the eggs. You want it to be very easy for the females to see the eggs and be able to pick them up. She puts them in her mouth and then she places her mouth to the fertilization organ, the back of the male, and he squirts the sperm into her mouth to fertilize the eggs. Also, they like to sift the sand throughout the day as they do in nature, and when they're about to breed they move it around. They can put it in piles. So using sand as a substrate is very important. Now if you do use crushed coral, make sure it's ground down to a small level as the sand is, because crushed coral can bother the gills in an African cichlid. When they sift the sand actually goes through the gills, comes out the gills, and it's something that really neat to watch. So if you don't have sand in your aquarium, you also miss watching your African cichlids sift the sand, which is something they do in nature. You want it to be as close as you can, at least as a substrate, to have sand in the substrate for their breeding and just for their overall living habitat. As far as your male is concerned, you want to have an alpha male, and it'll take care of itself. One will stand out and be the most dominant. But if your weaker or smaller male is more colorful and has better characteristics, then you should take out the alpha male and let the smaller one that has the better characteristics and traits develop into the breeding alpha male. The size aquarium I would suggest, the smallest size aquarium I would have for this breeding setup is a 30-gallon. In the past I've used a 30-gallon high, breeding at least 6 or 7 species of Mbuna. If you have a 30-gallon aquarium, I would suggest using less males, probably only 1 male per that aquarium. This aquarium is a 56-gallon aquarium, and I have had great success breeding in here. The temperature needs to be from 78 to 82 degrees, and I've had the most success between 80 and 82 degrees. Now something that will really improve your success is having hiding spots in your aquarium for the females and the male. As you can see, there's rock formations in the aquarium that allows them to hide and develop territories. I also have 2 deco caves in there. One is here. Let me show you. Right there. And it's under the rock. It's not as pleasing to look at, so I have it under the rocks, but it still serves its purpose. There's also a large one behind this rock here. And you can't see it because it doesn't look as good, but it's behind this rock here and this rock here. It's a larger size one. So it has hiding spots, but you don't see the undesirable cave that it sometimes looks like. When you're trying to breed fish, you can't forget to do water changes. On water changes, I like to do 50% every 2 weeks. Now, sometimes I do where I look into the water and say, hey, I need to do another water change. Now, sometimes your pH and your ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate may be good, but some of the minerals need to be added back to your aquarium. So taking out water and putting fresh water back in replenishes those minerals that these fish need. As far as feeding, I only feed once per day. Once per day. I have a lot of aquariums, so it's easier for me just to do it once a day. The important thing on the Mbuna is don't overfeed. They have a mentality like dogs around one bowl of dog food. Sometimes they eat more than they should, so don't overfeed them. If you see where one fish is getting a little bit too much food, you may want to skip a day. It's sort of like ordering a large pizza and you're really hungry. Sometimes you go ahead and eat that large pizza, but a few minutes later you're in pain and misery and regret it. And fish do the same thing as us humans. We sometimes overeat. So monitor how much you feed them. Now, I feed them sinking cichlid pellets, and a lot of manufacturers have pellets that can go from Mbuna that are more prone to have plant matter in their pellets, and they can also take a little bit of the protein in there, but make sure that there is at least some type of algae, some type of plant matter in the food for these fish to be healthy. It cleans out their digestive system, just like we're supposed to eat vegetables and plants and salads and stuff to keep ourselves clean. The fish need to do the same thing. Now, when you're wanting to breed Mbuna Cichlids, you have to figure out how many fry do I really want. Because if you have 5 or more females, you can have a lot of fry at one time. Now, the thing about these fry, the early broods, if you're developing these from a younger size, the Mbuna, if you don't buy them at full size, there's some that are holding. Now, here's one that's holding. There's about 6 or 7 actually that are holding in this aquarium. These Mbuna are not full size, so they're only going to have maybe 5 to 10 fry that they're holding. And these will not be as strong as when they're full size. The babies, the fry, it's important to hear this, the fry will not develop as fast, they won't be as strong as if you get the fry from full size Mbuna. The second generation will always be stronger. Now, these fish you see here, I purchased. Most fish stores, fish farms, wherever they come from, even if they're wild caught, the holding areas that they have, they're not going to feed them too much because they can't let the waste build up too much to keep the fish from dying. And sometimes they don't get enough fish food. So the second generation, which since you're going to be responsible for the second generation from the very beginning, they will be a stronger fish. They'll have the right food, the right temperatures, the water care, and you'll be feeding plenty of food from the very beginning. And plus, they'll be adapting to the aquarium. If they're raised on a fish farm, sometimes they're in big ponds outside, and they're not the same environment as an aquarium. So aquarium raised fish are going to be hardier fish. They'll actually grow to a bigger size as well. So when you're breeding the Mbuna African Cichlids, you need to think of, how am I going to get the fry? Are you going to go with natural release? In this aquarium, there's actually 12 fish in this aquarium. There is some hiding spots, but not enough to get a lot of fry to live in here. You might get 2 to 3, maybe just 1 that will survive a batch that is released in this aquarium. So natural release is really not optimum in this aquarium. Now if you don't want to do stripping of the fish, you can put them in a net breeder and or move to another separate aquarium and let the female spit them. Spit the babies out, spit the fry out of their mouth. Now in a net breeder, there's a divider where the babies can go down below the female, the mother, and they won't be eaten. But if you have them have a natural release in an aquarium, the female, the mother, may get hungry and eat the fry. So all that time that you spent, because it takes 4 weeks for them to get ready to release these fry, from 3 to 4 weeks, 15, 21 days, sometimes a little bit longer. It just really depends. So you don't want that to go to waste. So if you're going to try the stripping method, you can watch, if there's several videos out there on YouTube, you can watch how to strip the Mbuna. Now Mbuna is different than peacocks because their mouths are not as big, so you have to be really careful when you strip the Mbuna. Now it will stress them at first, but actually the females will get used to it over time, and if you're good at it, you can do it fairly quickly with little stress to the fish. So as you get all these fry, you should have thought ahead of time, what am I going to do with the fry? Where am I going to put them? I was recommended by fish stores to have 10 gallons. But many people use 10 gallons because they're cheap. You can get them for $10 in an aquarium. I would recommend using the biggest aquarium possible. They will grow faster and you can put more numbers into an aquarium. If you put a lot of numbers in a smaller aquarium, you will have stronger fish survive, but some of the weaker ones will not make it. And they won't grow as fast. You can actually stunt the growth. So, to sum all this up, learning to breed your fish will increase your fish care knowledge. You'll see their behaviors change. You'll see how from the beginning of when the fry released to raise all the way up to adulthood, you'll become a more knowledgeable fish keeper if you learn to breed your fish. A lot of times breeding will happen on its own, but take some steps and do it on your own and see how things go. You'll enjoy breeding, and I thank you for watching how to breed African cichlid Mbuna Cichlids. Look around the screen and check out some more videos from Ricky Kennerly Cichlids, and thanks for watching.